Let's do it. Let's get laser focused. Is that that's the one, right?
Locked in, laser focused. There it is. Let me do a little bit more maintenance here, reset this entire thing, and I will also go in and change the timer because we are playing 60-minute rounds today, 7 rounds of Swiss, followed by 2 rounds of Swiss tomorrow into a top cut, cutting at top 16.
Shout outs to BigOnFigs. Looks like he is playing the Amethyst Steel here. I'm seeing a little Genie Magical Researcher. He's only going to be altering 1 card here. Meanwhile, Hector looks like he's going for the full 7. Ooh. That is not what you like to see, but we will soon be seeing. I'm excited. They were saying, do you have any ideas of what we want to get on stream? And I said, I was talking with Hector a little bit earlier. I've played locals with Hector. I've played set champs with Hector.
Okay.
You know,
tell me something about him. Like, what are some of his tendencies? I have seen him on YouTube as well. He does a lot of YouTube videos covering some of his tournament exploits and some of the decks that he does. I think he had a great season last year, topped a ton of events, and now
doch, es ist Runde 2.
Back on the hunt,
I chose him at the Richmond DLC as a part of the casting team, you know, fantasy board, because I was like, this is a guy who's been putting in work. He's always active. He's always playing, and I wanted to give a little credit. You know, it looks like BigOnFigs is going to be on the play here, getting out the standard Captain Hook. Neither of these players know what the other is playing. We'll see as Hector scratches his head here. Okay, we got the
Wait a minute. So
yeah.
I was wrong.
You were wrong.
Surfer
I was
Stitch.
wrong too, because when I asked him this morning, I was like, "You played you played what I think you played." He's like,
Ist es so Circle of Life deck?
I was hoping for some Sapphire and Steel. I was hoping for some of those attacks. I know he's been kind of pushing that strategy a little bit.
Das kommt mir so vor. Da ist Amethyst Steel mal wieder am Start. Da sind wir natürlich sofort direkt für den Gegner bestimmt. Er hat diesen Christopher Robin im Dog-Modus einfach für 2. Not undercosted, aber was ist mit diesem 24kHector? Er zockt jetzt auch noch, ist das noch mehr Stitch? Er ist Sapphire, Ember, The Ramper, keine Ahnung. Wir werden sehen, was für eine Version er genau ist.
Diggity dogs, but into Amethyst Steel, a more mid-range deck, it is going to be a little bit better here. Oh my goodness, Restoration of the Heart? Is that what it's called? I can't remember what this card does.
What are we doing here in California with all the spice? That's Restoring the Heart, remove 3 damage from all chosen character, from chosen character or location, draw a card. So basically, it just gets that draw card. It's very cheap and just able to cycle some more. But what is going on with the Glimmer Games? Everyone's digging into the...
Das ist für Amethyst Steel dann natürlich der gute Start in diesem Matchup, wenn der Gegner jetzt auch mehr das langsamere Deck ist. Restoring the Heart. Achso. Heil 3 und 4 eine Karte. Okay. Ja, das ist ja in Ordnung. Kann man schon mal in sein Deck reinmachen. Na klar, es geht ja auch Jago. Ja, endlich. Langsam gewöhne ich mich dran. Dass immer alles gut ist, was einen anzielt und Tor kann. Und das macht es fett für 1. Bisschen so wie Improvise. Nur, dass der Effekt potenziell so mehr ausschlaggebend ist. Aber so 3 Heilen, man kommt nicht oft dazu, das zu machen, und dann muss es auch noch viel bringen. Aber ich kann mir vorstellen, dass er bestimmt relativ beefy Guys auch in seinem, oder Prinzessinnen oder so in seinem Deck hat. Ich kann mir vorstellen, dass er 4, 6 zu 4 hat. Aber hat er dann keine Ohana Means Family? Die sind ja ansonsten die Anti-Kombo mit Restoring the Light.
Benja's gonna come down. That's not exactly what you want to see in this matchup either.
Jetzt bämbelt er schon für 5. Da ist 24kHector gleich schon tot. Jetzt müsst ihr halt am besten schon so Spooky Side machen und diesen ganzen Crap in die Tinte tun. Das wäre okay. Hast du Spooky Side Turn 4?
And Amethyst player, or Amplifier, shout out Color's Law. We're selling Amplifier, like Vampire, but Amplifier. I think that's where we're at.
A lot of people calling it Amber. Some people calling it Blello.
Blello's out.
Es kommt lieber die
I was convinced
Blello.
Amplifier. I think that kind of feels good. It feels right, and it kind of takes you. It feels very Dracula as the play style of this deck. So I'll sell Amplifier as where I'm going to go with it.
As the 5-cost Scuttle comes down,
Amplifier
5/5 with Ward. Ward very powerful here. Even if BigOnFigs does have a Strength of a Raging Fire, even if he has the
Cinderella muss schon in den Combat gehen.
Right, then we are not going to be able to take out this Scuttle because it will be.
Ich bin gespannt, was Hector noch so hat. Ja, auf die Cinderella.
Okay, we're gonna Hades onto
Ich schätze mal Ah, schwer. Was wird denn jetzt passieren?
Bottom of the deck, not really doing a whole lot. That's not the card that you kind of want to. It's not really a super tough decision here, but now we are going to be questing out. For those confused on the math here, 6 is what we're questing out for. Even though that genie has 1 lore pip, this magical researcher is not only a 3/4 that quests for 1, but whenever he has a card under him, each card he has under him adds another lore pip. So with that card boosted underneath him, he is a 2-quester.
Klar, aber jetzt kann man Genie einfach wegschlagen. Der Gegner hat dann immer noch 5. Genau, er braucht dringend jetzt irgendeinen so Removal schon. Damit er nicht verloren hat. Und dann verliert er immer noch gegen Cobra. Aber dann hat er wenigstens nicht On-Board verloren. Jetzt gerade hat er doch schon immer noch On-Board verloren. Tja, 2, 4, 5. 1, 3, 5. 2, 3, 5. Ja. Das sind alle Arten und Weisen zu zählen. Und immer... Na, ja klar, wir erlauben das. Weißt du was? Diese Bot-Seller sollen mich mal so sponsoren. Keiner macht mehr Publicity für diese Schiss-Links als ich.
You kind of do.
Yeah, as sad as it feels, but you need to find a Raging Storm next turn, or I believe this game, round number 1, is just going to come to a Screeching Halt, and Hades does get find his way to under the deck.
You hate to see it, and now most of the resources that Hector has are being depleted here. We are at, I believe, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If I'm not mistaken.
Hades came out on curve last turn.
Yep.
So you can ink and go for a Raging Storm right now. And with that challenge, that might be an indicator that you just do not have it. 2 lore still in place. Maybe you have another Hades the Infernal Schemer, but that doesn't feel good.
No, it doesn't.
Hades, so Hades on Hades on Hades is crazy little line there.
And now we're seeing where this deck struggles. The Samber deck is going to struggle into the faster moving decks. BigOnFigs was able to keep drawing into his hefty 2-questers, and he smartly identified that he is the beatdown here. He needs to be racing. He needs to get lore as quickly as possible. Not a single challenge on the side of BigOnFigs, and that just showcases exactly why he is undefeated at 1-0 right now.
Ja, weil er smartly erkannt hat, dass er gegen diesen Say the Right Guy bestimmt der Beatdown sein werden muss. Sein müssen wird.
Being able to identify the matchups and adjust on the fly, because a lot of times a pitfall that players fall into, myself included, is like you want to do the same thing every time no matter what. You got to make those adjustments. You have to know when to put your questing in and how to combat certain things. Maybe in a different world, if this was a different matchup, maybe versus dogs, maybe you lean on those Black Herons or you lean on the Calhouns and those kind of things, because the game, Christopher Robin may not do as much. You're still sitting here at 19. You got to clear all the characters for the remainder of the game, and I think you just might not have the resources to be able to do that.
What are we going to be playing?
Ich glaube auch nicht.
Comes down. That's not the card you want
Die
to
bringt zwar jetzt nicht so wirklich.
Out. I'm assuming we maybe have a Sing a Let It Go. Yeah, Sing Let It Go. We're gonna ramp up BigOnFigs an extra 2 ink because that genie was boosted. And now, I mean, we've equalized, but the problem is that BigOnFigs is at 19. These Amethyst Steel decks are known for playing a card that right off the top give you a little bit of lore here.
And we haven't seen a Dock Bowl Knight either. We haven't seen a Demona. So,
kann er den jetzt nicht wegmachen?
Absolutely.
Demona 4/6 für 4 Lethal Questing.
Ability to go Visions, but you couldn't find it either, as Hector is just going to go to the scoop 'em up phase. BigOnFigs is going to walk out of there with a dub in game number 1. Well played match, but Hector really didn't have an opportunity to showcase what that strategy can do, because the game just happened so quickly for him.
And this is the versatility of Amethyst Steel, right? Because we know it as a mid-range deck, and what that means is sometimes when you need to go fast and get underneath the control decks, you can do it. BigOnFigs just showcased it. I do not believe that BigOnFigs is favorited into this match. However, he was able to keep on putting down big lore threats to the board, and that was what won him the game.
Yeah, I think, honestly, I really do in my heart believe that this match is closer to 50-50 than a lot of people give it credit for.
Wow.
Depending on how the matchup goes.
Ich denke mal, jetzt on the play wird es hier besser laufen für 24kHector. Vorhin war es ja schon so, dass das große Problem war, dass der Gegner so 19 Lore hatte. Wenn der Gegner dann nur so 14 Lore gehabt hätte, dann hätte 24kHector ganz anders aushalten können mit seinem Removal, total dominante Boardposition erzeugen können.
It can really help aggress some of that early game. So maybe even get Nakoma on 4 and then go to a Pete on 5 or a Moana on 5 or something like that and just start to build big bodies and then get those Ohana plays. And then once you get into deep terrain, you got to have your opponent's lore in check. That's how you can win.
Could be. And let's not forget, too, right, the altering of that last game. BigOnFigs altered 1 card. He had 6 cards that he loved to see in his hand. Meanwhile, 24kHector put everything back in, so he was playing out of the bargain bin.
I think we did it again. So we're double bargain bin for 2 games in a row.
You know,
so no ramp on 2. You know what to do. You got to send it. As look at the eyeballs there coming in from Hector there. Hates to see the hand. I'm telling you, this might be cursed. I would never want to play another feature match ever if I'm Hector, especially on a quest.
But he's on the play here.
Okay,
he's on the play here, and if BigOnFigs doesn't open with like Christopher Robin into Christopher Robin, that would maybe be almost instant game over. Unless Hector is playing the spooky sites, something like that, you know. But again, you know, he didn't see a lot of anything. He had to alter away.
Ich frage mich ein bisschen, ob er extra so den fetten Mulligan nimmt. Weißt du, bei dieser JDC-Quest hat er erzählt, so, oh, dieser 24kHector ist voll cursed im Feature-Match und so, immer gar keinen Luck. Und eigentlich gibt es ja nicht, ne? Keiner ist cursed. So im Nachhinein sieht es manchmal so aus, aber in Wahrheit ist es nur so normale statistische Verteilung. Außer, was es aber doch wohl gibt, ist so Selbstsabotage. Und ich frage mich, ob er einfach 7 Mulligan, obwohl er Ramp hatte, nur um dann nachher zu labern, so, ja, mal wieder und so, kann man einfach nichts machen. Weil er Schiss hat, Fair and Square auf den Sack zu bekommen. Vielleicht.
Something that can challenge, maybe get that scuttle down as we get the world's greatest criminal mind down into the inkwell. We're developing that brain a little bit. Maybe this is a good way to find that 2-cost ramp that you may not have in your hand after that aggressive alter.
And I did not see the card that he grabbed, but his hand looking a little bit more healthy. I do think that there is a Tipo in hand, so he
ich habe nichts gesehen.
His ramp. Meanwhile, Big-on-Figs.
Aber Tipo könnte sein. Sale hat schon nicht. Ne, jetzt hat er Tipo von oben gerippt. Ach so, aber da rechts neben dem World's Greatest Criminal Mind ist vielleicht noch einer, ne? Der Root Boy, come on, can you get it up?
What we mean by underdog. It's a new mechanic introduced in the latest set, Winter Spell, which means that if it is your first turn and you are on the draw, you will get to play the card for 1 cost less, which is a brilliant way to
geile Mechanik Underdog, ja.
Less to the play draw disparity that people were, you know, talking about in the earlier sets.
Yeah, and it just shows that the game design team is constantly thinking and working and trying to implement new ideas to increase that player experience.
Ja, Doppeltypo, dann hat er doch schon Typo auf der Hand auch, ja.
Very successful, I would say, in my personal opinion, and maybe it's something that we'll continue to see being added as more sets come through, and maybe they can get even more powerful until the point where people start to complain, and then you have to dial them back a little bit. So you introduce them, you break them, and then you dial them back. I like that approach, and I think that's where we've been doing a lot of that in Lorcana, it seems, up to this point.
And I think Hector is off to a good start. I am seeing that.
Ja, sieht gleich viel besser aus für Hector auf jeden Fall. BigOnFigs kann sich jetzt natürlich noch einen Lore machen. Mit seinem Captain Hook wird er bestimmt auch machen. Aber dann Black Heron, gute Stats, aber wenig Lore, also gute so Combat Kampfstärke, aber schlechte Erkundung. Wenig so Weitsicht. Aber so ist es im Labor, da bist du halt super am Grinden und nie was am Veröffentlichen, ja.
We noticed on BigOnFigs side, we still haven't developed any of those 2 questers. Those Christopher Robins, we saw how effective they were in that previous round. Now you don't have that.
Tja, was kommt jetzt? Finally kommt der Horseman Strikes in die Tinte. Und dann noch mehr Tipo. Gleich hat er schon so gar nichts mehr auf der Hand. Ich frage mich, ob er gleich nicht so 2 out of gas sein wird. Was ist denn sein Plan, um fetteste Karten nachzuziehen? Auch Ohana means Family?
Especially when your opponent is not putting a huge amount of pressure on you. Now, if you quest the Captain Hook out, both of these Tipos can go in. You really don't care if the Black Heron challenges that. You're keeping them off of another lore. So Hector going a little bit off the script here, but in a smart way, I'm sure.
Yeah, we talked about that last round just with BigOnFigs, how BigOnFigs identified and made the change. Hector now is doing the same thing. Let's go ahead and ramp and let's get those big bodies down. Even if you can play a card like Rockstar Stitch, or excuse me, Surfer Stitch in a timely manner, get those draws in and that willpower, that 8 willpower.
Ah ja, Surfer Stitch, genau.
Against this Amethyst Steel strategy, they just don't really have a way to combat.
Macht noch 2 Lore. Macht jetzt schon dieses alle Zerstörung für 8?
Moana into the spooky side.
Spooky side.
Ach, der hatte noch gar keine 8, aber macht die Spooky Side, ja klar.
We are going to ramp ourselves and ramp our opponent here. I would be a little bit afraid here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Ja, jetzt geht's los.
On the side of BigOnFigs, and
aber er hat halt kaum was auf der Hand. Er muss da jetzt halt mächtig von umziehen.
A little bit of a gamble here, but I think what Hector's actually setting up is saying, okay, you go ahead and play out all your characters, exhaust all of your resources on this turn, because now he has enough ink to play the Raging Storm, wipe the board, and then establish something else to boot because of all of those T-pos. What a smart play by Hector. I mean, exhibiting
auf jeden Fall.
I'm not a master of this deck. I'm like, oh, I think he should keep this horse strikes. Meanwhile, he's like, no, I'm just going to take 3 extra ink. Thank you very much.
Let's go all in if you can. But fun fact about me, I've never defeated Amethyst Steel after playing a card Spooky Sight. It just has never happened for me.
No.
Because they always rebuild, and they always rebuild so strong because they start chaining those docks. We have not seen BigOnFigs deploy a Dock Bowl Knight this entire game yet.
Aber Hector hat einfach nichts. Ah ne, er ist Sandbag. Er hat bestimmt wirklich noch diesen...
Pass? Yeah. Hector just passed.
Ja, er macht jetzt gleich, macht er es halt für 8.
So he will... I believe he has the Raging Storm in hand.
He might be trying to drag him into deep water.
I think he is, yeah.
Ja, aber es ist zu offensichtlich. Da hat er jetzt schon nur noch einen nachgelegt, den anderen macht er jetzt gleich schon gar nicht mehr. Und Go. Und dann muss er es machen auf 3. Aber es war es wahrscheinlich immer noch wert. Der Gegner hatte so wenig Lore.
This is a guy who knows how to play against Be Prepared. He knows a board wipe.
Here it comes.
For sure, Raging Storm.
Never punished here is BigOnFigs. Great gamesmanship from both of these Lumineers. As Hector sold, you bought and did not play into it. I've seen players get completely annihilated by a Raging Storm in that exact scenario. So kudos to BigOnFigs for identifying that. And now you have the opportunity to go for this board flood. But if Hector is setting...
Ich habe auch super da reingeplayt, aber weil ich so abgezählt hatte, dass ich dann gewonnen habe. Wenn er 7 kann.
But look at those hand resources. You have a lot going on in your hand, and you're managing your resources quite nicely.
And Demona, enemy of the clan, is going to hit the Inkwell there, the less popular Demona, not the Scourge.
The Scourge enemy,
the enemy of the clan, I believe.
Let's leave Demona alone. Let's think, I don't think Demona did much wrong. Okay, I've been watching.
Betrayer of the clan. That was what it was.
You're close though.
A different kind of enemy.
I wasn't going to say anything at all.
Oh, and BigOnFigs is going to be able to draw 2 cards because we don't want to let that Hades up. That is going to be our singer for Let It Goes. That's going to be something that we can challenge in, especially into this Christopher Robin here.
And I think
klar, um sich dann eine reinzuziehen.
This Christopher Robin, we saw how effective that card is in his matchup. And Amethyst Steel, maybe before
macht er jetzt noch einen Hades?
Christopher Robin never was released, maybe this matchup would be a bit more effective as we have
the Daisy Duck
champion.
What are we doing? The Sapphire Champion is cooking. Daisy Duck Sapphire Champion coming through, giving resist to all Sapphire characters, while also being able to cycle a card. So each turn, whenever She Quest or Sapphire card quest, I believe, you can
macht die?
top part of your deck, and if you like it, keep it. If not, send it to the bottom.
Ah, okay.
The rarest champion, I think. Her and Donald are the 2 champions that
wow, die habe ich ja noch nie in Action gesehen.
The Ruby Champ. You don't see a lot of the Emerald Goof Champ either.
Der Emerald Goof Champ kann echt gar nichts. Dieser Ruby Champ ist noch stärker, meiner Meinung nach. Den Amethyst Champ siehst du auch nie. Am meisten haben wir noch so Mickey gesehen, in dem Sinne, dass Leute den so als 4 in ihrem Deck hatten eine Zeit lang, vor allem Preset 10 oder was Preset 11. Und dann haben wir letztes Mal gesehen, dass Leute so 1, 2 Pluto gerne in ihrem Deck haben, den Steel Champion. Aber das ist Daisy Duck, Dreamborn Hero, okay. Sad, dass sie nicht Detektiv ist.
He is going to be able to what is the term? I don't want to use the magic term, but he will be able to cycle through his deck a little bit, be able to pick out the cards. I believe it's called scrying in Magic, but
Vision kann machen. Vision.
Because there's really not a name for it, but
predict.
Whenever one of them quests,
he'll be able to look ahead.
You look ahead. Look at that. We just solved it. We're looking ahead. We're calling it looking ahead. That's what it is. And also that Hades having resist.
Ihr nennt sie auch Lore-Guides.
That can stumble a lot of people that resist.
Beziehungsweise ihr nennt sie so immer noch Judges, aber sagt nur so an, so hey, sie heißen Lore-Guides jetzt und dann jeder, ja, der Judge, der Judge.
Identifying, I'm not going to be able to get through this Hades. Let's go ahead and get another quest in. 2 more lore being added. And the hand is just so full and Hector hates.
Was ihnen eigentlich hätte klar sein müssen. Präskriptive Sprachphilosophie funktioniert halt nicht. Ich wäre auch froh, wenn sie funktionieren würde, aber so ist es halt nicht. Leider. Ich würde gerne Leuten vorwerfen, dass sie die Wörter falsch verwenden. Aber tatsächlich, wenn alle verstehen, was gemeint ist, dann so funktioniert das Wort.
It feels like BigOnFigs is saying, you want to go ahead and play that Raging Storm? You're going to be able to handle everything? Go for it.
I just rebuild again with all this ink that you gave me, and that's why I personally, I think Spooky Sight is a phenomenal card, but against Amethyst Steel, it feels so hard to play sometimes because they can just rebuild and draw and play to the board. Hades comes through, Docs come through, Timonis come through. It just becomes obnoxious, and Hector now feels as if.
Tja, was macht Hector jetzt? Hector hat schon den Board Removal, den Board Wipe gemacht und jetzt bräuchte er bald schon wieder noch einen.
So if you wanted, you can start to engage with this Black Heron or this other Hades, even though that challenge probably wouldn't do too terribly much for you.
It doesn't, but it's really annoying too, right? Because BigOnFigs has a wide board, none of them quest for 2, but you can't let them just keep on gaining lore steadily, and that is the strategy.
Ganz genau, du musst Black Heron farmen.
You don't want to do it. You're going to put 2 damage on because of the.
Jetzt wahrscheinlich mit Daisy Duck wird er doch auch noch den Hades verhauen wollen.
I got to imagine we got to challenge in with the Daisy Duck. We can't allow BigOnFigs, which kind of goes against the strategy and the whole point of playing the Daisy Duck, right? You want to look ahead. You want to use the card.
Nee, er macht Let It Go.
Just let it go. Right here. Yeah, that's not a bad sing either, because you want to keep your Daisy around, and if you go challenging with that Daisy Duck, which he can do.
Jetzt könnte er da halt reintraden mit allen, aber dann könnte er mit Olaf nicht den Dock bouncen. Okay.
Olaf and Doc in play together, which is just a crazy 1-2 combination.
Aber er kann natürlich trotzdem mit Olaf einfach da rein challengen, um 2 Schaden auf Daisy zu machen und dann Doc wieder auf die Hand nehmen. Nachdem er mit Doc noch einen Lore gemacht hat. Er konnte das aber auch erst einfach nicht so machen, weil er jetzt gerade anscheinend sowieso noch Fett 4 Hankern hat. Kann er erstmal noch alles rauszulassen.
And the tough part is, right, that Sapphire's removal is inking based. So you're able to choose one of your opponent's bigger threats. There's not really a lot of restriction on what the card has to do, but you're inking your opponent, and now, I mean, all that
you are inking your opponent.
Ramping that 24kHector
rein in den Tintenvorrat.
I mean, BigOnFigs is almost at the exact same amount of lore. So
vielleicht ist das, wie Team Tintenvorrat entstanden ist.
To then play out this monster of a hand, I believe 5 or 6 cards in BigOnFigs' hand. So it's, even though we're removing the big threats from the board here, BigOnFigs can really utilize all of this ink here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I think we're tied on ink, actually.
Yeah, and you had the ability to draw these cards with those Hades looking for deals. You've had you have so many more opportunities to continue to draw and refill your resources, while Hector now is kind of in the struggle. We haven't seen too many of the surface stitches coming through. Looking at Hector, looking at his face, trying to stare down and get some answers from his opponent, as BigOnFigs is locked in on another level. Loving the outfits. Who's winning the drip off? Who's winning the swag war?
Oh man, I gotta go with my boy Silver Surfer, man.
For sure.
You gotta.
I think so. I think it's a clear.
He's silver. He's surfing. What's not to love?
I mean, but Hector does have the jewels, though. I love the necklace. Okay, I like necklace. All right, I like stare down.
Bling.
I mean, he's looking good. He's trying to get some information. BigOnFigs not giving up anything, but we are thinking.
Not at all. Poker face. Look at BigOnFigs. You could. I don't know what that man is thinking. Look at him. You don't know what's coming.
He's on another level. He's switched on here. As Hector is hoping for a commit. Maybe you're trying to hold out hope that BigOnFigs is going to continue to expunge a lot of hand resources, and it just looks like they are not going to do that.
Ich meine, es geht ja noch einigermaßen.
Very tempered. They've been playing very with reserved, you know, not going too hard into this Raging Storm, maintaining hand resources, maintaining.
Ja, also Raging Storm finde ich jetzt gerade nicht so mehr den Superfaktor, weil Hector ja schon so selber einiges an Bord hat. Da wird er schon kaum noch wegmachen wollen.
excuse me. And BigOnFigs, funny enough, is spoiled for choice here. Chooses and elects to go with the Elsa. I mean, this is definitely a...
Für 4, um dann noch mit Olaf da reinzusummeln.
Raging Storm put 4 damage on there. Notably, the champions do not activate their ability on themselves. Yeah. It's for everybody else, right?
That would have been really nice if they did. Okay,
yeah, that would be crazy on that Mickey, the Mickey Amber champion.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, 2-7.
I like it, man. Send it, man. They're the champions for crying out loud. Give them a break.
Oh, and we are going to 2-for into this Hades here.
Davon ist Hades kaputt vom Gegner? Müsste der nicht überlebt haben mit 3...
We've challenged everything off. I don't know if BigOnFigs needed to do that. I think
Nein, das war weak. Damit bringt er sich super selber ins Grab. Er hat jetzt dumbly vergessen, dass er der Beatdown ist in diesem Matchup. Ja, jetzt macht Hector ihn fertig. Was ein devastating Turn auf sich selbst. Wobei, er hat ja jetzt wieder den Dock auf der Hand. Also von daher ist es nicht so, als ob er nicht jetzt gleich doch noch... Aber wenn er sich einfach Lore gemacht hätte und Hector das Challenging überlassen hätte, er gewinnt doch nicht die Materialschlacht in Turn 1000 gegen 24kHector. Je länger das Spiel dauert, desto schlechter ist es für BigOnFigs, würde ich denken. Ich meine, man kann schon gut Karten ziehen mit Amethyst-Stahl, so ist es nicht. Aber man hat einfach nicht so die fetten Klopper. Man hat nur so viele Würste halt. Und wenn das Spiel zu lange dauert, hat der Gegner so viele fette Klopper, dann ist man kaputt. Hector dürfte ja vor den fetten Discard-Pile haben, wenn sich jetzt super viel irgend noch machen kann. Bis ans Ende des Spiels nie wieder eine Karte von der Hand hängen. Oh geil, es ist auch die Kombo mit Say the Azerite Sea.
There might have been a miscalculation.
Ich weiß es gar nicht.
On which part?
They say that I think I might
should have been 3 damage on the Elsa.
Yeah.
They did. They corrected it themselves.
Correct it? Okay.
They corrected it themselves.
Okay.
Yeah. Hector pointed it out. He moved the damage counter to 3. That's why Elsa now after the 2 damage has moved to 1. So thank you so much, chat. We really appreciate it.
Please keep that same energy because we want to make sure that the game stays as fair as possible. And I'll try to keep the chat open as much as we can. But keep in mind, this is on Twitch.
Oder geht es doch nicht? Kann man mit Say the Azerite Sea noch eine aus dem Ablagestapel inken, wenn man die Moana im Spiel hat?
Just work with us. We'll keep building this thing as we fly. And thank you guys all for being here. As Let It Go comes through one more time. We kick the Elsa with less.
Intuitiv würde ich ja sagen, ja, aber man müsste die Regeln genau durchlesen.
However, you have these 2 warded characters in play.
So there's nothing that you can move anyway. Yeah.
I don't hate it.
The big brains, man. I know. Every time that I think, oh, maybe this should have happened.
Look at the brain on Brad. I love it.
Jasmine from Fabled. Oh my gosh, I'm trying to remember exactly what the name.
Fearless Princess.
Fearless Princess, right.
Aber 4:12 und Hector hat jetzt auch nichts mehr. Es kann gut sein, dass Hector doch trotzdem noch verliert.
You can discard a card and then she gets 3 strength?
3 challenges. She has evasive on your turn. Taking the leap is what it's called. Before alert was a thing, she was taking the leap. And I love this card. Big fan of Jasmine. I love her willpower. I love her. The artwork is just a wonderful, wonderful design card.
The Enchanted especially. Oh, man.
I'm with it.
Get out of here. I'm looking at all the vendors around here and it is crazy.
Was macht er denn jetzt? Ist er gleich schon wieder eingescoopt? Visions of the Future.
The sheer amount of Lorcana.
Kann er fast schon ein ganzes Deck mit angucken.
The aura is insane. Yeah. As Hector is going to play Visions of the Future, look for
Was findet er denn?
Cards. Pick one of them.
Will er so Surfer Stitch 7 drop?
I'm looking for
Will er so The Horseman Strikes?
I'm looking for that single point removal, or maybe even at this point, I wouldn't mind. Maybe I think you have enough time to maybe rip an Ohana.
Das ist dem Let It Go.
Scuttles, but you got to start locating that removal immediately because you're getting to that point of the game where
du kannst ja auf jeden Fall erstmal die Kette überfahren mit einem der Skulls. Und dann hätte der Gegner sowieso schon nur noch so 4 Low Value. Dann wäre es allerdings schon in Range der Giant Cobra, deswegen wäre es nicht so schlecht, noch einen Charakter wegzumachen. Vielleicht die Jasmine mit Let It Go, vielleicht die Elsa mit The Horseman Strikes.
And this board is quite massive. You have that Jasmine, you have the Doc. That's a lot of lore in place right now.
And Hector, he has the Raging Storm in that, so it's you can choose, but how do you come back?
Ja, die Frage ist, wie er dann gewinnt.
That's the real question Hector's asking himself here is,
Raging Storm schon nicht mehr so der harte Faktor.
I rip off this Raging Storm, clear the entire board. It looks like BigOnFigs has about 2-3 cards in hand. If he deploys everything, you can't just keep on Raging Storms.
Yeah. So it is. So here we go now. I think this might be a time for you might have to deploy it. I think Raging Storm might be the way to go. And
nee, ich glaube es nicht. Sehr gut.
Oh, excuse me, we've got a challenge coming in. So there it is. Maybe we have an Ohana means family. This might be the time for you to start drawing some cards and looking for more of those resources. Scuttle now gets a nice cheeky and easy quest in for 2, but we just leave that damage onto that Scuttle. Now BigOnFigs looking confident in this position for Lore. It might be an opportunity here for you to take it. Elsa should be ready. There she is, putting herself.
Ja, wenn jetzt noch die Cobra hat, ist es schon win.
Comes up immediately, pushing it up to 18. Is this the Serpent time? Ghostly Serpent for the win. One time. We haven't slammed it yet. Olaf is down.
Olaf is coming down. It is a card that will allow you to get back one of the cards on the field if the Olaf is banished. But we are going to banish our own.
Wait a minute.
Smart. To bounce back our dock, to redeploy the dock, draw another 2 cards, empty out the entire hand, and now BigOnFigs knows.
That's a play. Exactly that's a play. I mean, that's a follow-up. That's
Strength of Raging Fire gemacht auf seinen eigenen Guy?
Play Raging Storm or lose the game. Or Hades double challenge. Because even if you go double challenge, you can't clear this Jasmine because that's 7 willpower, and you have this evasive threat. So you might force your opponent to do the play that you want them to do.
If we had the Hades, we would be able to double challenge into the Jasmine, and then Hades the Christopher Robin. We'd only get to 19, but we don't have it. And Hector is going to get up to 10, but that's tough in the face of 18.
Ja, da ist er tot. BigOnFigs macht halt jetzt noch den Dock und noch ein paar Würste. Und dann hat Hector verloren.
Insta-immediate rebuild. Hector now is going to be in.
Oh ja, insta-immediately wird da alles wieder voll sein. Ich sehe es genau.
Control like your life is on the line, and it is, because going X1 here at this state is no easy feat. You're gonna have to get into the grind position and try to get through the rest of this.
Yeah, get into the grind position.
Like almost infinite ink on the side of BigOnFigs. I would imagine he still won't overcommit. He still wants to keep 2 cards in hand, 2 characters that he can play. But there is and the Scrooge McDuck is coming down, and the Tipo is not the top deck you want. And it is game over, unfortunately.
Know the chat how the sound is, but I'm very excited because we just watched an exciting match where we saw an old tried and true Amethyst Steel against the Amber Sapphire. So share a little bit about why you brought this deck. Is this a deck that you played for a while? What was the thought process bringing it today?
I played it a bit, and I feel like it's decent against a lot of the matchups. I wanted to play Amber Sapphire. That's actually the deck that I've been playing, but I feel like it doesn't test well into everything. Like, if you get what you need, then you win, but this time, like, I can kind of auto-correct with a dock or 2 if I need to, and so.
Now, I noticed that was a pretty decisive victory. Look, it was 2-0, and it was over pretty fast. Now, do you think, have you built your deck faster for the dogs of the world? Like, what have you changed in this meta?
I actually have more high end.
Interesting.
I'm playing the 4-drop common Demonas.
Okay.
Things that I don't think will get under the seed, but then also will help me in my Blurple matchups.
Okay.
So going fast is really just up to Christopher Robin and then 3-cost Genie.
Okay, that makes sense. And I mean, one of the best things about that deck is its reliability. So is this something that is there any matchups, is it something where you feel pretty good into every matchup in this room? Or are there anything that in this very funky, I've seen some funky decks out there that you're a little nervous about?
Blue-green.
Yes.
Still is hard. I need to really get what I need when I need it. And I think Ruby Amethyst kind of kills this deck.
Yeah.
Some of the builds on Ruby Amethyst now is hard to deal with.
Yeah, and there are some out there. There's some funky decks, but I mean, that one you did quite well. So we're here in Sacramento. Are you a local?
I grew up here. I graduated from Sac State, but
wow. Okay.
I live in Nashville now.
Okay, so it's a very short drive for you.
Yeah.
So you can like go home for lunch probably. You want to.
Maybe.
But either way, there's food
We'll
trucks.
see. Yeah.
But we will let you go out there. There's lots to do, and I'm sure you want to relax and get excited for lunch. But before we say goodbye, do you have any shout-outs or anything you'd like to say?
Just want to shout out all my friends that tested with me this week in Nashville, all the OGs. That's all I've got.
Perfect. Okay. Well, thank you so much. It was a pleasure to meet you, and have a good rest of your day. Back to you, JD.